home. Yes, we love you. Still we need you for the things you've done for us.
Rex Masai,
Loving comrade, here you are, far away from home. Yes, we love you. Still we need you for the things you've done for us.
Jesse wetu,
Loving comrades, here you are, far away from home. Yes, we love you. Still we need you, Mama, for the things you've done for us.
Jesse watizedi,
Loving comrades, here you are, far away from home. Yes, we love you. Still we need you for the things you've done for us.
and everybody.
Loving comrades, here you are, far away from home. Yes, we love you. Still we need you for the things you've done for us. Thank you. Oh, oh, oh.
Thank you very much. We are the field marshals. Asante sana.
Pamoja twashinda, pamoja twashinda, pamoja twashinda, pamoja twashinda. pamoja, pamoja, pamoja twashinda.
Pamoja we.
Pamoja, pamoja, pamoja twashinda.
Pamoja.
Pamoja, pamoja, pamoja twashinda.
Wote pamoja we.
Pamoja, pamoja, pamoja twashinda.
Ya we.
Ya 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 ya.
Imba ya we.
Ya 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 ya.
Imba ya.
Ya 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 ya.
Imba ya we.
Ya 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 ya.
Ukabila we.
Wema kinyuma sitwaenda na haki.
Ukabila we.
Wema kinyuma sitwaenda na haki.
Ufisadi.
Wema kinyuma sitwaenda na haki.
Ufisadi we.
Wema kinyuma sitwaenda na haki.
Lelele ya we.
Ya 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 ya.
Imba ya we.
Ya 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 ya.
Wote ya we.
Ya 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 ya.
Imba ya we.
Ya 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 ya.
Ole yo.
Ho
Ole yo.
ho
Ole yo.
ho.
Are you ready for revolution?
Ready for revolution. Ready.
Are you ready for revolution, baby? Are you ready for revolution, mommy?
We are ready. We are ready for revolution. We are ready.
Uko tayari kwa mapinduzi, mami?
Niko
Ayu,
tayari. Niko tayari kwa
mapinduzi.
Niko tayari.
Tuko tayari kwa mapinduzi.
Niko tayari.
Are you ready?
Tuko tayari kwa mapinduzi. Tuko tayari.
Are you ready for liberation?
We are ready. We are ready for liberation. We are ready.
Are you ready for revolution?
We are ready. We are ready for revolution. We are ready.
Uko tayari kwa mapambano?
Tuko tayari. Tuko tayari kwa mapambano. Tuko tayari.
Uko tayari kwa mapinduzi, mami?
Tuko tayari.
I'm ready.
Tuko
Are you?
tayari kwa
We
mapambano.
are ready. We are ready.
Tuko tayari.
Are you ready for liberation?
We are ready. We are ready for liberation. We are ready.
Are you ready for revolution?
We are ready. We are ready for revolution. We are ready.
Uko tayari kwa mapinduzi?
Tuko tayari. Tuko tayari kwa mapinduzi. Tuko tayari.
Uko tayari kwa mapambano, mami?
Tuko tayari. Tuko tayari.
Uko tayari kwa one term.
Tuko tayari. Tuko tayari kwa one term. Tuko tayari.
Uko tayari kwa half term.
Tuko tayari. Tuko tayari kwa half term. Tuko tayari.
Are you ready for revolution? We
We
are
are ready.
ready for revolution. We are ready. Are you ready for revolution, mama?
We are ready. We are ready for revolution. We are ready.
Are you ready for justice?
We are ready. We are ready for justice. We are ready.
Are you ready for her key?
We are ready. We are ready for hockey. We are ready.
Are you ready for revolution?
We are ready. We are ready for revolution. We are ready.
Hola yo!
Oh!
Joey. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We love you too.
Asante, na sisi pia tuko ready na panel yetu. Zaid? I think we're missing one more person. Olo? So thanks to you for waiting, and we really enjoyed that session, as we always do when Githuku sings. So this session is really about the intergenerational dialogue, in which Kenyans who come from Gen X, millennials talk to the Gen Zs. We look at the commonality of the struggle to understand that what has been happening recently is not new. Kenya has always been in this struggle from colonial times to the present day. It's a continuum. And it's important for us to understand that history, so we learn from the past on what succeeded before and what we need to do now. I'm going to ask each panelist to introduce themselves in 1 minute. I should start with Sheila.
Viva, comrades, viva! My name is Sheila Masinde. I'm the Executive Director of Transparency International Kenya. Viva!
Viva, comrades, viva. Comrades, power. Comrades, Ria. Comrades, Tibim. Martha, Zaga Zaga. My name is Albert Maloba, the Executive Director for University Student Leaders Association. For the first time, comrades, we won. We now have a legally registered association that is an umbrella body for all the students in Kenya. Comrades, power.
Asante.
I'll ride on that and say comrades power. Comrades viva. My name is Olo Janak. I'm a journalist. I'm the director of programs at the Kenya Correspondents Association. But I've been in this space before, and I guess we'll be sharing a bit of that.
Viva, comrades, viva. Viva, comrades, viva. My good name is Joshua Okayo. I'm a lawyer and a human rights defender. And it's good to see you all.
Viva Mapambano, viva. Viva Mapambano, viva. My name is Zahid Rajan. I'm from Awaz Magazine and the Samosa Festival and the Kenyan Asian Forum. Thank you.
Viva, comrades, viva. My name is Kawive. I should not be on this panel. It's tuambiane ukweli, si ndio? Gen Z wametuambia tuambiane ukweli, si ndio? This is not a panel, it's a manel with one lady, isn't it? So organizers, mslete hivi. I'm not the organizer. So thank you very much. Then we can continue.
I think I'll start with you, Kawive. We know that not just Kenya, the whole of Africa is 75% people under the age of 30. Yet most of our leaders are over 70. And what does that say about us in terms of youth participation? And what can we do as Kenyans to bridge that intergenerational dialogue, the gap, so that we have more young people participating, more young people showing up for elections, and more young people taking up leadership positions?
I think thank you very much for the question, but I think there's a fundamental problem, and the problem is that we want, or the older generation want to define for young people what they should do. Look at what has happened in Nepal. Look at what happened earlier on in Tunisia and in Egypt and in Khartoum, Sudan. Young people in these countries, and even in Madagascar, they've woken up to say, well, there could be rules, there could be legislation, but we have something that we want to do. The people of Mau Mau who went to the forest, they refused being held back by older people. And they said, we will chart our path forward. So for me, and I want to be on record to say that I am totally, as Kawive Wambua, opposed to intergenerational dialogue. Why would you have dialogue with people who are facing the brunt of suffering, with people who are being killed? Why do you want to tell them what they should do? Why can't we have young people taking the leadership and we follow? Or we shut up if you have nothing important to say. So I think for us the question of liberation is a question that for me, although I have got a lot of respect for the Constitution and for the rule of law, there are certain things that must be put out there, not to be discussed, but to be adjudged by reason, adjudged by what we may call the dream of progress. When youth last year went into parliament, everybody was saying, parliament is it a protected, what is that thing about protected area or what? How can you have parliament as a protected area when the people in parliament are not representing you? And you are paying them and they're not representing you, then they are in a protected area and then you shouldn't go there. What kind of logic is that? So I am thinking that we should, as much as possible, follow the lead of young people, the lead of people who are progressive, the lead of people who are refusing to be restricted by law and order, people who are refusing to be normal, quote unquote, what is normal, and who are charting new grounds, who are charting new path for us to follow, with the ultimate goal of liberation of this country from the manacles of leaders. Paul Biya, Museveni, Sulu, I don't know who, and there's another Ouattara, all of them above 80. I think even Biya won without knowing there was an election. You know, that kind. In hospital, was it in Sweden or some place? Yes. So it's coming with an effigy. And you are telling young people you have to have a discussion, an intergenerational discussion between young people and beer, surely, and Museveni. What intergenerational conversation? People, older people, okay. People who have been in leadership like that should not be people who talk down on young people. I think that has just followed the lead of young people to liberate this country, because there's no other way you get liberation without following uncharted paths. Thank you.
Thanks, Kawivi. I think when we speak of intergenerational dialogue, it's not about talking with the leaders who are old. It's about talking with and discussing with people who've been in the movement, people who've been in the struggle, people who've been fighting for democracy and human rights. And with that, I'm going to ask Sheila two questions. One is, what is it that we have learned from the Mau Mau movement, from the multi-party movement, and the recent movement that connects all this? And more importantly, what has been the role of women in this struggle? Because we don't always hear enough. Like when I was learning history, we learned about the Mau Mau, nobody mentioned the role of the women. And similarly, in the multi-party movement, there's a role that a lot of women played, including Honorable Martha Karua. So those two questions. Are there things that we can learn from the past movements, and what was the big role of women that we see very evidently now?
Thank you. I think for what I have observed from what I've read about the Mau Mau, and I was fortunate enough to have to grow up in the 80s and 90s during the second liberation, and then until now, the fight for the new constitution, and now what we have now with the youth coming up and other generations coming up to now start claiming back their country. What is coming out strongly is that the struggle really has never quite ended. And as we've seen that we've been in a perpetual struggle from the pre-colonial days up to now. And when I look at for instance, with the Mau Mau, and even with the second liberation, is that there were people who fought for whatever we gained during those struggles. With the Mau Mau, what we got was, of course, Kenya becoming a republic and independence. And then with the second liberation, which went on for quite some time, there were moments of victory with the return of the multi-party system. And then we went on for a number of years to fight for this Katiba, and there are a number of gains. But what I feel is that many times, even after we've gotten what we are fighting for, and there's still much more to be fought for, to be claimed, is that we've left it to the people who quite don't believe in what we have been fighting for. I think it happened with the Mau Mau time. Then the people who then formed government and took over the leadership of the country were perhaps people who were after their own vested interests, not the public interests. And then we saw what happened, from the 60s to the 70s to the 80s, wanton corruption, and we lost our country then. And that's why, many times you hear people coming up and saying Kenya was at one time at the same level or at par with Malaysia, with Singapore, and all these other countries which are now ultra-modern countries, and their economies are thriving. And yet here we are, still, I don't want to use the word third world, but we're struggling. Look at where we are at now, caving under the level of public debt. Because we left the running of this country to people who didn't believe in those ideals, that guided, those struggles. People who didn't have the values at heart. Look at what happened during the second liberation. There are all these, and I'm an admirer of young Turks. I think for the past 2 weeks, those who follow me or have contact with me, I've been seeing how I've been posting about the young Turks. Viva Martha Karua, the young Turks of the 90s. I really admired them. I was a very young girl then, but I think those are some of the people who motivated me to come and do my bit in what I'm doing now in civil society and the fight against corruption. But what happened? They fought so much for the multi-party, the return of the multi-party system, the repeal of Section 2A of the then Constitution. But then the people who took power, or rather people who have taken power as much as some of them have gotten the opportunity to serve in government, we know where the real power has been. We know the people who have largely benefited and really stolen and left this country almost bare. And what we are learning now, even as, because we are now in this current struggle with the, what we popularly call the Gen Z movement, but for me, I see it's Gen Zote, all generations. But of course, the youth have a lot, much more at stake, because they are going to be here much longer than I am, much longer than many other people are going to be. And so they have to fight tooth and nail for whatever it is, for the ideals and for this country. But they shouldn't leave, even when we get what we are fighting for. I believe right now it's a clamor for economic liberation, it's a clamor for social and political justice, it's a clamor for true democratic ideals. But even if we get there, Baba used to call it Canaan, even if we get to Canaan, please don't leave others to eat those fruits. Please make sure that you remain on the table to continue to protect your country, to continue to protect the gains, so that we don't have a return of people who are greedy and are really not after our public interest, had actually been, affected and arrested and detained during that time and are charged with unlawfully charged with treason. So there are so many women who have been part of the struggle. Even if you go back to Mau Mau, you go back to the second liberation, so many of them, we don't get to hear their stories. Even right now, I really admire that right now we're seeing a lot of young women who've come up with the Gen Z movement. I'm seeing more women, very pronounced young women. And I think it's important that we recognize that as much as the men, of course, have been out there, more physically involved in the struggle, there are women who have invested so much time strategizing and doing all that it takes to ensure that those people who are those at the front line, and there are those always, even in a battle, there'll always be those at the front line and those at the back end, behind the scenes. And sometimes they do much more. And many times it is women who are, propping up that struggle. And I think it is time that we recognize the role that the women have played. Of course, it comes with great challenges, but I think they've held it up for the love of this country.
Thanks, Sheila. And we'll come back again on the issue of women in leadership, because we need more of it. But I want now to go to Joshua. And one thing during the Gen Z movement is we heard the youth telling those of us who are older is we didn't understand them. And that could be true. So in what ways are the young people of Kenya redefining activism and political participation? And what do you think the older generation needs to learn from what the young people need and what it is they want for Kenya?
My comrade here has added a question and is asking, and do the young people understand the old people? Let's try to respond. It's important. And even as we tackle this, while seated there, and I think the moderator was talking about generations, and she was asking who are Gen Zs and who are millennials. And I had two millennials seated there. One confused me. She didn't look like a millennial. She looked way younger. And so when I asked her, and she said she's Gen Z at heart. And the other one said, there's a gentleman who said that now Gen Z should learn that we have to pass the baton. And I asked him, if you didn't have the baton, what baton are you passing? You've left this thing in the hands of Gen X for the longest time. So you did not have it in the first place. But that was just, an icebreaker and something to think about. It's not to create any, differences between generations, because this is not a generational thing. This is something that requires all hands on deck and everyone to come together. But then, even as we say that, even as we put everyone in that inclusion, we also have to ask, what are you doing in your space? And I think that question I posted was important for someone to reflect, that even if they did not take the baton from someone, it's time they take it very fast, so they hand it over almost immediately. But coming to your question, for the first time, protests have been dignified. Before, we used to have people going to the streets and others would walk around and ask, shida yao watu ni kina ni nani? people would wonder, what are you doing? And you would go to the street and, you know, have flags, and some people in town would wonder, these people are very idle. You have a lot of time in your hands. People are busy looking for money, but you're here in town protesting. So I think protests have been made to look like something that can actually bring change. And I'm talking about protest particularly because people have tried so many things to try to have a conversation as a country and to bring change. And among them are petitions to different public offices and officers. And, you know, just having these dialogues and conversations, but they are not working. We've had documents developed from conversations and dialogues, even in spaces like these ones, some of which have been organized by government, but still people come out of that place and they implement other things that probably they did not present in those conversations. So Martin Luther King Jr. says that protest is a language of the unheard. And so the young people, we have tried, and our parents have tried every other thing, it has not worked. Let us go to the protest and to the streets. It has worked. Another thing, and another perspective that the young people have changed is the middle class mentality. And in short, what we are trying to tell the state, or what we are trying to tell those in power, is that, you know, we can actually pay for taxes. We can pay for these things through taxes and still go ahead and use our own money to dig borehole. Now, what do you need to be done with the money that you have contributed as part of tax? You understand? And so we have been complacent. People have been complacent for the longest time and thinking that if I can afford it, it doesn't bother me. If I can afford school fees for my children, those who cannot afford it is their issue. If I can afford water, those who do not have water, it's their issue. I don't care. So that don't care mentality, we